Greetings, shinobi and scholars of the multiverse. Welcome to Six Path Weeb, your portal to advanced anime theory craft and alternate reality storytelling. Today's fanfic exploration dives into a high-concept scenario. What if Naruko became the youngest Jōnin in the history of the Hidden Leaf? A narrative rewrite that challenges canon boundaries and unlocks new dimensions of potential. Disclaimer: the content on this channel is strictly for entertainment and analytical discussion. I do not own any of the anime footage featured in these videos. All rights, credits, and intellectual property belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, initiate chakra sync and prepare for a deep dive into this alternate shinobi timeline. Let's begin. Knock, knock. Enter. You asked to see me, Hokage-sama? Yes, Naruko. Please, have a seat. Naruko stepped forward and took a seat in front of the third Hokage, leaning in slightly, curious as to why she had been called. The third Hokage smiled warmly. Naruko. I would like you to take on a Jōnin team. A Jōnin team? Why now? She asked, puzzled. What brought this decision about? You're more than capable, the Hokage replied reassuringly. But beyond that, there's a specific reason. Uchiha Sasuke has just graduated. He will be placed on a team, and I'd like you to be the one guiding him. Naruko blinked, surprised. Wouldn't someone like Kakashi be a better fit for an Uchiha? Perhaps. But Sasuke has been through much, and he's focused intensely on gaining strength. He's driven by a desire for justice against someone he once looked up to. He needs someone who understands hardship, not just in theory, but through experience. Someone who can show him there's more to life than ambition. That's why I believe you are the best choice. Naruko paused, thinking. I'm not sure. Well, I am, the Hokage said with confidence. You'll meet your team tomorrow at 10 o'clock sharp, at the academy. The other two team members will be Haruno Sakura. Naruko raised an eyebrow at the name. She was all too familiar with the Haruno family's intense personalities. And Inuzuka Kiba. I believe he can learn a great deal from your unique approach to shinobi training. Naruko considered it quietly for a moment, then gave a calm nod. Very well. But I get to decide how to test them, right? Of course. But remember, Naruko. They'll be looking to you not just as an instructor, but as a mentor. She stood, brushing off her uniform. Understood. You may go. Naruko bowed slightly and exited the room, her mind already turning toward the responsibilities awaiting her the next day. The next day. All right, everyone, settle down, Iruka called out. No one paid attention. Quiet. Instantly, the classroom fell silent. Good. Now then, I'm pleased to say that all of you have passed. As a result, you'll each be assigned to a 3-person team. These teams have been carefully organized to balance strengths and personalities. I'll begin announcing them now. He began listing the teams from 1 through 6. Team 7 will consist of Inuzuka Kiba, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Sakura let out a quiet cheer while Sasuke simply remained quiet, cool and composed. Team 8 will include Hyuga Hinata, Aburame Shino, and Fushigi Hinori. Team 10 will be Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, and Akimichi Kuji. After naming the teams, Iruka continued, your team leaders will be joining you shortly. They'll be responsible for your advanced training and future missions. He then addressed the final assignments. Team 7's leader will be. Iruka smiled as he read the next name. He knew this individual well. Uzumaki Naruko. A soft murmur of surprise passed through the room, but Iruka continued. Team 8's will be Yuhi Kurenai. Team 10 will be led by Sarutobi Asuma. Alright, everyone, your senseis will arrive shortly. As the room once again erupted in quiet chatter, Iruka sat back down at his desk and rubbed his temples with a sigh of relief. Behind him, the classroom board displayed 3 words essential to every shinobi: look beneath the surface. One by one, the new Jōnin senseis arrived, collecting their assigned students. Eventually, only 3 teams remained, teams 3, 4, and 7. Then, the classroom door opened again. In walked a young woman in her mid-teens, with an air of calm confidence. She had light platinum blonde hair, spiked with a single braid running from her temple past her ear, woven with a thin leather strip and small wooden beads. Her deep ocean blue eyes held a steady and warm gaze. 3 soft whisker-like marks adorned each cheek. Her outfit consisted of deep purple cargo pants, shinobi sandals, and a sleeveless fishnet shirt beneath an open Jōnin vest. Her forehead protector was tied securely around her upper left arm, with bandages wrapped neatly on her right. Hey Iruka, she greeted with a casual smile. How's everything going? Iruka looked up, pleased. Long time no see, Naruko. Things have been good. I assume you're here for Team 7? Naturally, she replied, her tone even and composed. As Naruko stood at the front of the class, the room grew quiet with anticipation. Her presence was strong but inviting, a balance of grace, strength, and mystery. And so, a new chapter began for both Naruko and her students. Alright, Team 7, this is your new sensei, Uzumaki Naruko. At the announcement, the three young ninja in Team 7 widened their eyes in astonishment, their jaws nearly dropping to the floor. No way. She can't be our sensei. She doesn't even look that much older than us, Kiba exclaimed, Akamaru barking in agreement beside him. If that's how you feel, I can always leave. In that case, the three of you will need to wait until next year to become full-fledged Jōnin, Naruko responded with a calm and confident tone. There's no need for that, Iruka quickly interjected. Team 7, consider yourselves fortunate. Naruko is more than qualified to be your instructor. She has proven herself many times over and deserves your respect. Naruko gave a reassuring nod. Thanks, Iruka. But it's all right, I'm used to reactions like this. Anyway, if any of you are serious about becoming Jōnin this year, meet me on the rooftop in 10 minutes. With that, Naruko turned to leave, pausing at the doorway. See you later, Iruka. 10 minutes later, rooftop. The three young ninja were seated on the rooftop steps, waiting. Suddenly, a puff of smoke appeared, and once it cleared, their new sensei stood before them with a confident, fox-like smile. I'm glad you all showed up. This means you're ready to give this a try. Let's start by learning more about each other. Tell us your name, your likes, dislikes, hobbies, interests, and your dreams for the future. Sakura raised her hand hesitantly. Could you go first? Just so we know what to say? Sure, that's fair, Naruko said with a light laugh. My name is Uzumaki Naruko. I have many things I enjoy, too many to name. Dislikes? Not really anything worth mentioning. Hobbies include training and improving myself. As for my interests, again, far too many. And my dream? Well, I'll keep that to myself for now. Alright, you're up, Bubblegum. My name's Haruno Sakura, she said, glancing shyly at Sasuke. I like certain people. I dislike, well, let's say rivalry. My hobbies and interests are. She trailed off with another bashful look at Sasuke. And my dream? Well, it's personal. Naruko offered a patient smile. Alright. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Dog Whisperer? Kiba gave Naruko a skeptical look but began. I'm Inuzuka Kiba. I like spending time with Akamaru. I dislike people who act like they're better than others. My hobbies involve training with my family, especially alongside Akamaru. My interest is in mastering my clan's techniques. And my dream is to one day lead my clan. Well said. And finally, your turn, Featherhair. Sasuke chose to ignore the nickname and started calmly. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I have few likes and many dislikes. My hobbies and interests are focused on training and growth. As for my dream, it's a personal ambition that I intend to achieve. I plan to restore my clan and uphold its legacy. Naruko tilted her head slightly, her smile fading just a touch. Alright, thank you for your honesty. Now listen carefully. Tomorrow morning, we'll meet at Training Ground 7. There, you'll undergo a final test to determine whether you're ready to officially become Jōnin. But we already passed the academy exams. Sakura protested. Those were preliminary. They showed that you have the potential, Naruko explained. This next evaluation is more difficult. The failure rate is over 60%, so be prepared to give it your all. That's not fair, Sakura murmured. Life often isn't, Bubblegum. One more thing, don't eat breakfast tomorrow. If you do, you may regret it. With a flick of her wrist and a gentle puff of smoke, Naruko vanished. Do you think she was serious about the breakfast thing? Sakura asked. I don't know, Kiba replied, crossing his arms. But I already don't like our new sensei. Without a word, Sasuke turned and walked away. Sakura quickly followed, clearly not wanting to be left behind. The next day, Training Ground 7. Where is our sensei? She said morning, it's practically noon. Kiba grumbled. His impatience was growing by the second. At precisely 10:30, Naruko arrived. Kiba immediately confronted her. You said to be here in the morning. I did. But I never specified the exact time. It's still morning for another hour and a half, she replied nonchalantly. Now that you're all here, let's begin. She reached into her pouch and pulled out a small cloth bag. Inside this bag are 9 colored keys, 3 red, 3 yellow, and 3 blue. Each of you will receive 2 keys, with 1 color missing. The remaining set of keys stays with me. She handed out the keys. Sakura received red and yellow, Sasuke got blue and yellow, and Kiba received red and blue. Your task is to collect 1 of each color. You'll need to cooperate, or compete, to do that. If you succeed, you pass. If not, you'll be restrained, and the successful ones will enjoy lunch while you watch. But why the breakfast warning? Sakura asked. It's a strategic element. Hunger affects your thinking and drive. Also, it makes the reward more satisfying. One final note, don't hold back. Give it your best effort. With that, Naruko threw the final keys into the air. Begin. In a blur, all 3 students vanished into the forest. Naruko simply lay down on the grass, closed her eyes, and dozed off peacefully. Elsewhere in the forest. Kiba crouched behind a bush, watching Naruko nap. She's wide open. This is my chance. You know, Naruko's voice rang out from behind, you should never turn your back to an opponent. Startled, Kiba spun around in shock. How did you? Underestimating others is a mistake, she said calmly. Kiba lunged toward her, but with a puff of smoke, Naruko vanished. A shadow clone, Kiba whispered, just as Naruko appeared high up in a tree. You'll need to be more careful, she advised. Kiba charged again, but this time, Naruko caught his hands with one hand and restrained his feet with the other. You forgot someone. Kiba smirked. Akamaru leapt from his jacket, racing toward Naruko. Naruko smiled and opened her eyes, revealing a mysterious, shimmering glow. Her gaze was so intense and her presence so commanding that Akamaru immediately turned back, retreating. Kiba stared in astonishment. He couldn't move, not from fear, but from awe. Naruko gently set him aside, then returned to her resting spot. Meanwhile, Sasuke silently moved through the forest, searching for one of his teammates. He noticed Kiba's earlier attempt and saw Naruko handle it with ease. Deciding Kiba wouldn't be the easiest target, he tracked down Sakura. He followed her quietly until she paused in a tree. Kiba! Get up here, she called in a hushed voice. Kiba approached cautiously. Are you trying to take my key? No. I want to talk. He joined her in the tree. We can't win if we go solo. We need to work together, all 3 of us, and come up with a plan. All right, Kiba agreed. Sasuke, overhearing everything, stepped out from the shadows. Sasuke. Perfect timing. We were just. I heard it all, he interrupted coolly. Then. Do you agree with us? No. I'm here to prove that I don't need anyone to hold me back. I can move forward on my own, Sasuke declared, adopting a firm battle-ready stance. Sakura and Kiba were stunned, unable to comprehend what they were hearing. Sasuke was willing to challenge his own teammates just to advance. But Sasuke-kun. You can't be serious. Sakura pleaded, but her words went unacknowledged. Sasuke leapt forward, preparing to confront his teammates directly. Before he could reach them, however, he was halted mid-air. Their instructor had intervened. Time's up, said Naruko quietly. Her voice, while calm, carried a tone of clear disappointment, though the reason behind it was unclear to the others. Moments later, all 4 of them had returned to the training field where the test had begun. The 3 Jōnin sat quietly on the ground, while Naruko, standing before them with arms crossed and eyes closed, remained silent for several long moments. The atmosphere was heavy with anticipation. Finally, she spoke. Does anyone recall what was written on the board in Erika's classroom the day your teams were assigned? No one answered. Look beneath the surface, that phrase is the essence of a shinobi. Can anyone explain what it means? Still no response. It means that one must uncover the hidden truth, rather than simply accepting what is shown or said. This entire test was designed to evaluate your ability to work together, not your ability to individually obtain the keys. Naruko opened her eyes and looked at her students. A wise friend of mine once said, those who break the rules are seen as careless, but those who abandon their comrades fall even lower. I fully agree with that. But Naruko-sensei, why did you give us different keys instead of the same ones? Sakura asked, her voice soft. To see if you would take the easy path and deprive your teammates of a chance. Or if you would support one another, even if it meant sacrificing your own opportunity. If you had worked together to retrieve the keys from me, or shared them among yourselves, all of you would have passed. Only 2 of you understood this. Naruko's gaze landed gently on Sasuke. Sasuke, you believed your teammates would hinder you, and you chose confrontation rather than collaboration. That is not the mindset of a true shinobi. However, since 2 of you demonstrated the right intent, I'm offering you all a second opportunity to prove yourselves. Naruko then turned her eyes toward the 3 wooden posts nearby. The students followed her gaze, puzzled. A sly smile appeared on her face. Sakura, Kiba, you'll be tied to those posts while Sasuke and I have lunch. Sakura and Kiba stared in disbelief. But that's not fair. Kiba protested. Life often isn't, Kiba. Naruko responded calmly, walking over to her bag and retrieving some rope. She gently tied the 2 to the stumps, even securing Akamaru so he wouldn't chew through the ropes. From her bag, she brought out 2 lunch boxes and tossed one to Sasuke, who caught it and began eating in silence. Naruko stood again. Sasuke, take mine as well. I need to head out for a bit, no point in wasting it. One last thing, do not share any with Sakura or Kiba, or you will all fail. With that, she walked off into the distance. Sasuke listened to the rumbling of stomachs. As the minutes passed, he grew increasingly uneasy. Finally, he looked at his teammates, then picked up Naruko's lunch. You're both hungry, right? I'm going to give you some. But, Naruko-sensei said not to, Sakura exclaimed, surprised. I know. But she's not here right now. So go ahead. He extended his chopsticks and food to both teammates. They accepted with grateful expressions. Suddenly, a puff of smoke appeared. Naruko had returned, standing before them with a serious expression. Sasuke, she called sternly. Although he remained composed on the surface, Naruko could sense his tension. A moment later, her demeanor changed entirely, her expression brightened and she began to applaud softly. You all pass. Her voice was now gentle and approving. Sasuke blinked, clearly surprised. You passed because, even after I told you not to share, you prioritized your teammates' well-being over the rules. That's exactly the quality I was hoping to see. She smiled. All of you have shown signs of teamwork. You're now officially Jōnin. Congratulations. It took a moment for the announcement to sink in. Then, Kiba cheered, Akamaru barked joyfully, Sakura grinned with relief, and Sasuke gave a small nod, silently satisfied. But remember this, teamwork is your foundation. Without it, your growth as shinobi will remain limited. Everyone nodded in understanding. Then Kiba raised his hand. Naruko-sensei? Yes? What was that earlier? Your eyes, the aura? It was kind of intense. That's something you're not ready to understand just yet. Come on. Was it a special technique or something? Maybe a genjutsu? Naruko chuckled. It wasn't genjutsu. And just so you know, that's not my strongest area. I make up for it with other skills. So you're not that strong of a Jōnin? That's not what I said. Then how strong are you? That's not something I prefer to discuss. Why not? Are you just hiding how weak you are? Naruko looked at him calmly. Kiba, strength doesn't need to be flaunted. Also, like a magician, a shinobi should never reveal all their secrets. Oh, so now you're a magician and a sensei? Kiba, that's enough, she said calmly. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. Kiba froze in place, unable to speak. He sensed an overwhelming presence. Naruko's calm but powerful energy surrounded him. Sakura and Sasuke felt it too, though it wasn't directed at them. Just as quickly as it came, the intensity vanished. Will you calm down now, Kiba? Or do I need to make you even more uncomfortable? No, I'm good, Kiba replied, recovering quickly. Glad to hear it. Now then, meet me here tomorrow at 11 sharp. We'll begin your mission assignments. Oh, and if you need to find me, check one of 3 places: my home, Ichiraku Ramen, or Dingo Dengo Cafe. Any questions? How do we know where you live? Sakura asked. You'll all receive letters with the information you need. I've also received your files. Now, if there's nothing else, I'll be off. She disappeared in a soft puff of smoke. Later, at a peaceful restaurant. Kakashi sat at the bar, enjoying a drink and unwinding after a long day. Hey Kakashi. He turned to find Naruko taking the seat beside him. Naruko. What brings you here? You don't usually come to places like this. I had a feeling you'd be here today. She smiled slightly. Kakashi chuckled. I heard the third assigned you a Jōnin team. She nodded. And I heard you were supposed to take one too. Judging by that drink, I guess it didn't go well? You guessed it. Two of them started arguing over who would challenge me first. Chaos, really? I get it. I used the key test. Two of them worked together, except for the Uchiha. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. He tried to go solo? He was ready to confront his teammates just to move forward. And what did you do? Gave them a second chance. Use the lunch scenario. Ah, the old lunch test, classic. Thankfully it worked. Otherwise, I'm not sure what I would have done. Why's that? The third insisted that Sasuke be on my team. That was the main reason I was chosen to lead them. Kakashi nodded knowingly. Silence settled between them for a moment, then Naruko smiled. At the pace you're going, that book of yours is going to be filled with failed team evaluations in no time. Kakashi gave his usual eye smile and took another sip of his drink. Character profile, Fushigi Hinori, miracle sunset hair, light brown in color, neatly trimmed along the sides, with longer, slightly tousled layers around the crown. Eyes, warm amber with soft brown undertones. Height, comparable to Shikamaru's. Attire, wears a lightweight, dark beige jacket over a brown t-shirt, paired with dark brown trousers. Complements her outfit with standard blue shinobi sandals and a blue forehead protector wrapped stylishly around her right arm. Birthday, March 17th. Personality traits. Fushigi is a pleasant and easygoing individual who often brings a calm presence to any situation. Though she tends not to take things too seriously, she maintains strong convictions when it comes to respect and loyalty. While her memory may falter at times, her dedication to her comrades and her honesty never waver. Fushigi is sensitive to rude remarks and prefers friendly, constructive communication. Abilities. Although she doesn't possess a unique Kekkei Genkai or signature technique, Fushigi has a natural inclination toward genjutsu, which she performs more proficiently than taijutsu or ninjutsu. Her skills with kunai and shuriken are balanced, though not exceptional. She scores consistently within the average range on academic assessments. Family background. Fushigi comes from a civilian household with no prior shinobi lineage. Her mother, Sora, passed away during the birth of her youngest daughter, Shizukesa, leaving behind a close-knit family. Her father, Itaishin, is a well-respected baker and cafe owner in town. Fushigi has two siblings, her older sibling Kioi, age 17, who supports the family whenever possible, and her gentle younger sister Shizukesa, age 7, who often helps out in their family bakery. They reside in a cozy and welcoming home situated in the heart of the village, where warmth, kindness, and support define their daily lives. Ow! Hold her still. But she just scratched me. Again. That's because cats usually don't like dogs. Or maybe just your energy, Sakura sighed. Then why don't you take her instead? Fine. Hand her over, Sakura demanded, reaching for the fluffy feline. Kiba, who was standing and grumbling under his breath, reluctantly passed Tora, the daimyo's wife's beloved cat, to her. This marked the 6th time in 2 weeks they had been tasked with catching the elusive pet. Kiba stood, covered in claw and bite marks. I don't get it. How can something so small cause so much trouble? That's a big word for you, isn't it, Kiba? Came a calm, teasing voice. Kiba, Sakura, and Sasuke turned to see their team leader leaning casually against a nearby tree, Naruko Uzumaki, their Jōnin sensei, smiling playfully behind her bright blue eyes. Kiba's eyes narrowed. Naruko. You better watch it. You know that trying to challenge me never ends in your favor. Only because you got lucky last time. Oh? And the time before that? And before that? Alright, I get it. Still. Pure luck. Sakura giggled softly. You know, Kiba, Naruko-sensei has bested you every time you've tried. And quite gracefully, if I may add. Quiet, Sakura, Kiba snapped, flustered. Now, let's all keep it civil, Naruko chimed, placing a hand on Kiba's shoulder before he could say more. Teamwork is key. And why's that? Because I believe in you all, no matter how spirited you get. But now, let's focus. We need to report back to the Hokage and return Tora. I'm sure the daimyo's wife will be thrilled. Yes, Naruko-sensei, Sakura responded cheerfully. Yeah, Yeah. Kiba muttered as they began heading back. Hokage's office, later that day. Well done, the third Hokage said, taking a puff from his pipe as he looked at the team with a warm smile. Now then, I have another D rank. No, Kiba shouted, startling even Tora. No more chores. These missions feel like errands, not training. The Hokage raised an eyebrow. Oh? And what kind of mission would you suggest? One with real action. Something exciting that we can actually grow from. Careful with the confidence, Kiba, Naruko said, her left eye twitching slightly. Sarutobi chuckled quietly. Perhaps it's time. Just this once. Very well, he finally said. Huh? The team replied in unison, except Sasuke, who merely raised a curious eyebrow. I'll assign you a C-rank mission. You'll escort a client to the Land of Waves and ensure his safety as he completes a construction project. Tazuna, please come in. The door opened and in walked a man with gray hair and a tired expression. This is your client, Tazuna. Tazuna looked around with a skeptical frown. So? I paid good money for this team? They look like kids. Excuse me? Kiba bristled, but Naruko gently placed a hand on his shoulder again. We're here to protect you, Tazuna-san. Please trust that we're more than capable, Naruko said with poise. Sarutobi nodded. Naruko is highly qualified. You're in good hands. Tazuna grumbled something under his breath, unconvinced. Kiba mumbled as well, earning a small sigh from Naruko. You'll leave in 1 hour, the Hokage said. Prepare yourselves. At the village gates, 1 hour later. Naruko stood at the gate as her team gathered. All right, team. Let's move. The group walked in silence for the first hour until Kiba spoke up. I still don't believe you're as strong as everyone says. Naruko didn't respond. You're not denying it either. That proves my point. What theory? She asked mildly, clearly uninterested in arguing. That the Hokage favors you. That's why you're a Jōnin. Naruko took a breath. Want to know what level I was at when I was your age? Everyone perked up. Yeah, Kiba replied, arms crossed. I was part of the Anbu when I was 12. The group stopped mid-step. Eyes widened, mouths fell open. Prove it, Kiba dared. Naruko calmly unwrapped the bandage on her arm, revealing the tattoo all Anbu members bear. Even Sasuke was stunned. She was Anbu. Younger than Itachi. He thought. Will you stop questioning now? Naruko asked gently. Kiba just nodded. Good. Now let's keep going before it gets too late. Later that day. They made camp and rested under Naruko's careful watch. The next morning, the team continued along the path. The weather was warm and pleasant. That was, until they came upon 2 puddles in the middle of the road. Naruko instantly became alert. The formation continued, Kiba at the front, Tazuna in the middle with Sasuke and Sakura on either side, Naruko bringing up the rear. Suddenly, crash. Naruko had swiftly taken down 2 hidden attackers. The team spun around to see her standing calmly over 2 unconscious shinobi. Tazuna-san, she said calmly, would you like to explain why we're facing trained opponents when we were told to expect nothing more than bandits? I didn't mean to mislead you, Tazuna stammered. Naruko raised an eyebrow. Please explain everything. Tazuna confessed about the situation in the Land of Waves, the oppression, and his need to hire help discreetly. Naruko thought for a moment. This mission is now higher than C rank. The enemy may send stronger opponents. It's up to the team if we continue. I'm in, Kiba declared. Sasuke simply nodded. Sakura hesitated, uncertain. Naruko knelt down beside her. Sakura, this is your choice. If you choose to stay, I promise to protect all of you. You are my team, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep you safe. Sakura smiled faintly and nodded. Okay. I'll stay. All right then, Naruko grinned. Let's move out. Arrival at the Land of Waves. The group traveled quietly. Mist began to roll in thickly. Naruko grew more alert. Duck, she shouted, pulling Tazuna and Sakura to safety as a massive blade embedded itself in a tree. A figure stood atop the sword. Momochi Zabuza. If I'm not mistaken. Zabuza smirked. Ah, recognition. And you are? Naruko stood tall. Let's just say I'm someone you don't want to underestimate. Zabuza chuckled darkly. Give me the old man, and I'll let the rest of you go. Sorry. Not an option. Mist thickened as tension rose. Naruko looked back at her team. Protect Tazuna. I'll handle this. Zabuza's voice echoed eerily, describing where he could strike. But Naruko was focused. When he moved, she intercepted, kunai clashing with sword inches from Tazuna. Sasuke stared. How? How did she move so fast? Zabuza disappeared. Naruko narrowed her eyes. A water clone. She drew her chakra, summoning twin retractable blades from her arms. Her eyes shifted, revealing deep red irises, an advanced state fueled by energy and focus. Zabuza stared. You're the scarlet claw of the leaf. Naruko grinned. Nice to finally be recognized. The battle began in earnest, Zabuza with his water jutsu, Naruko with swift counters and wind-based techniques. Eventually, Naruko launched a powerful gust that sent Zabuza flying into a tree, dazing him. Before Naruko could reach him, Senbone struck Zabuza's neck, and a masked figure appeared. I've been tracking him for a while. Thank you for your help. Naruko narrowed her eyes. Something was off. The figure collected Zabuza and vanished. Naruko turned to her team. He's not finished. That wasn't a standard hunter nin. Stay alert. Wait. She? Sakura asked. Naruko smiled softly. Yes. And we'll see her again. The team continued their journey, aware now of the true danger that lay ahead, but confident, with Naruko guiding them. Yes, the hunter nin was a young woman. Anyway, we should get moving, one of them said gently. The group of 5 continued walking until they arrived at the home of Tazuna, where they were warmly greeted by his daughter, Tsunami, and his grandson, Inari. The next morning, Naruko awakened and slowly made her way down the stairs, guided by the inviting aroma of breakfast wafting through the air. The scent was delightful, comforting even. As she entered the kitchen, she noticed that her teammates were already seated, quietly enjoying their morning meal. Akamaru sat peacefully on the floor nearby, sipping from a water bowl. Good morning, Naruko-san, Tsunami greeted with a kind smile, turning her head briefly before bringing a plate to the table, generously filled with food. Thank you, Naruko replied sincerely. Oh, please don't mention it. It's the least I can do after everything you're doing to help my father, Tsunami said graciously. Naruko simply gave a small shrug and began eating. She hadn't gotten much rest the night before, her thoughts preoccupied with the challenges ahead. Both Zabuza and the hunter nin were formidable, and Naruko knew that facing them simultaneously would be a serious test. She needed to ensure her team was well prepared for any situation that might arise. Looking up, Naruko noticed that the 3 Jōnin had already finished eating and were watching her quietly. She raised an eyebrow inquisitively. Is something wrong? She asked calmly. Sakura responded, Naruko-sensei, you are frowning. Kiba hasn't even said anything to you yet. Hey, Kiba exclaimed, slightly louder than necessary. Naruko gave a light chuckle. Ah, sorry about that. I was lost in thought. Anyway, I've decided that once you're ready, we'll head outside for some training. It's time to prepare for what may come. Like what, sensei? Sakura asked curiously. I want you all ready in case we encounter Zabuza and the hunter nin again. I won't be able to face them both alone, so it's important that you all strengthen your skills. Yes, sensei, the group responded with determination. Good. And Tsunami, thank you again. The breakfast was wonderful, Naruko added warmly. 1 hour later. Naruko led the 3 young ninja deep into a forest, their curiosity growing with every step. Eventually, they stopped in front of a series of towering, wide trees. Alright, Naruko began, we're going to improve your chakra control through a special exercise, climbing these trees. Kiba blinked. Climbing trees? That doesn't sound very helpful. I could do that in my sleep. Naruko smiled calmly. I was about to explain. You'll be climbing these trees without using your hands. Instead, you'll use your chakra to attach your feet to the surface. The Jōnin looked intrigued now. You must focus your chakra to the soles of your feet, carefully controlling the amount. Too much chakra and you'll be pushed off the bark. Too little and you won't stick. Use a kunai to mark how high you get, and track your progress. As she finished speaking, Naruko formed the ram hand seal, allowing a subtle glow of chakra to radiate from her feet. She approached one of the trees, placed a foot on the bark, then the other, and began walking straight up the vertical surface with ease, as though she were simply strolling on the ground. When she reached the top, she gracefully jumped down and landed lightly in a crouch. I recommend starting with a run-up to give yourself some momentum. That can help until you develop more precise control. With that, Naruko took a seat on a nearby log to observe the training session. Several minutes later. To her satisfaction, Sakura managed to reach the top of the tree on her very first attempt. Well done, Naruko said, standing up. It seems Sakura currently has the best chakra control among you all. Come here, Sakura. The pink-haired kunoichi descended and approached her sensei with visible excitement. What is it, Naruko-sensei? I believe you've earned a more advanced training challenge, Naruko replied with a smile. This time, you'll learn how to walk on water. It's similar to climbing trees, but it requires constant adjustment of your chakra output. The surface is fluid, so your control must be more refined to stay balanced. Turning to the others, she added, Sasuke, Kiba, keep practicing. Once you finish, feel free to head to the bridge and assist there. With that, Naruko and Sakura departed together, making their way to a serene lake they had passed earlier. By the lake. They stopped at the edge of the water, and Naruko began explaining the principles behind water walking. When she was done, she stepped forward and focused chakra into her feet. She calmly walked across the surface, taking several confident steps before stopping and turning to face her student. Do you understand now? Sakura stared in amazement before nodding slowly. Why yes, I do. Excellent. Practice until you're comfortable with it or until someone comes to fetch you. Stay focused. With that, Naruko gave Sakura a supportive smile before turning and heading toward the bridge, ready to continue their mission. A week had passed, and both Kiba and Sasuke had successfully completed their tree climbing training a few days earlier. Sakura had made notable progress as well. She could now remain on the surface of the water for several minutes and had begun walking on it with improved stability. Their mentor had been focusing on enhancing their stamina through daily endurance runs, followed by a rigorous regimen of exercises including push-ups, sit-ups, and strength training. Although the three young ninja often voiced their frustration with the training, feeling that they hadn't been taught any advanced techniques beyond chakra control, Naruko simply smiled and reminded them, "You must learn to crawl before you can walk." When asked what she meant, she explained gently that they needed to develop a strong foundation in physical ability, or else future training would not be effective. That evening, after everyone else had gone to bed, Naruko chose to rest outside beneath the open sky. She had always found comfort and peace under the stars, and tonight, the sky was beautifully clear, without a single cloud in sight. A soft smile touched her lips as she drifted into a quiet slumber. The only sound to be heard was the distant call of an owl. The next morning, Naruko awoke in the same spot she had fallen asleep, her body still relaxed in the gentle morning air. The sound of footsteps nearby caused her to open her eyes. Standing before her was a young woman with long, silky brown hair and a porcelain complexion, offering a warm, gentle smile. "You could catch a chill if you sleep out here too long," the girl said kindly. Naruko returned the smile with a lazy grin. "I don't really get sick," she replied, her voice calm and light-hearted. As Naruko sat up, she took a deep breath and caught a familiar scent. It brought back a specific memory, and it was coming from this girl. Intrigued, she decided to play along. "So, how's Zabuza doing?" The girl's eyes widened momentarily, then quickly settled back to normal. "So, you figured it out," she said, more as a statement than a question. "It wasn't difficult," Naruko replied. "You share the same scent as that masked individual who came to retrieve him. And your aura? It's nearly identical." The girl simply smiled in response. "So, why are the two of you working together? You don't seem like the type who would be involved in something like that." There was a pause before she answered. "Tell me, do you have someone precious to you?" Naruko nodded. "Yes. I have many people I treasure. So I suppose Zabuza is that person for you, then?" The girl's smile grew faintly. "How did that happen?" Her smile faded, replaced by a faraway look. "It's simple. I was alone when I was younger, without direction or belonging. Zabuza gave me a purpose. He accepted me when no one else did. And that's why he's someone I cherish." Naruko nodded, understanding the sentiment all too well. "Yeah. I know that feeling." "Do you?" the girl asked. "It's a long story." She stood, preparing to leave, but Naruko called after her. "Why go after Tazuna-san? He may be a bit stubborn, but still, why target him?" The girl paused, her back still turned. "We were hired." "I know that. But why accept the job?" "Because Zabuza has a dream. And I want to help him reach it. This mission is one step toward that goal. She started to walk again, but Naruko called out once more. I didn't get your name. Haku. Naruko, she responded softly. As Haku disappeared into the trees, Naruko sat quietly, her thoughts swirling. I see. Very interesting. Later that day. Naruko led her team to the bridge, prepared to protect Tazuna and the other workers as they had each day. She had left shadow clones behind to guard Tsunami and Inari, anticipating that Gato might attempt something underhanded. When they arrived, they were stunned by what they saw. The workers were lying on the ground, unmoving. What happened here? Tazuna whispered, worry clouding his voice. Suddenly, a dense mist rolled in, thickening with each passing moment until visibility was reduced to just a few feet. Zabuza, Naruko said firmly. Everyone, stay close to Tazuna-san and protect him. Do not move from your positions unless I give the order. As her teammates formed a protective circle around Tazuna, Naruko readied herself, focusing her chakra and steadying her breathing. She extended her fingers, allowing 6 thin blades to extend from between her knuckles. Moments later, she sensed Haku's approach. Sasuke, support me by keeping her busy. Naruko called, and Sasuke engaged Haku in a swift, focused taijutsu battle. Meanwhile, Naruko kept a close watch for any sign of Zabuza. I believe we're due for a rematch, Zabuza's voice echoed through the mist. This time, I won't be caught off guard. I know more about you now. Oh, do you? Naruko said with a smirk. Then you should also know how this is going to end. You're confident. That might be your weakness. Let's just begin. I'd prefer to finish this quickly. I've been missing the ramen from home. Zabuza charged, swinging his sword, but Naruko narrowly avoided the strike, receiving only a shallow scratch on her arm. She responded with a counterstrike, which Zabuza dodged. They exchanged quick blows, both of them agile and calculating. After creating some distance, both began forming hand signs. Zabuza was faster, calling out a powerful water-based jutsu. In response, Naruko used a clever illusion. A group of harmless, cheerful clones appeared, distracting him just long enough to disrupt his technique. While everyone else was shocked or confused by the odd tactic, Naruko had already moved on to her next jutsu. She finished the hand signs and unleashed a gust of wind toward Zabuza, who managed to evade it just in time. As the fight escalated, Naruko tapped into her inner chakra reserves, releasing a brilliant red aura that swirled around her like a controlled storm. Her appearance shifted, eyes glowing with intensity, nails slightly sharpened, her energy radiating outward. Zabuza's expression hardened, but the tension in his stance gave away his unease. Naruko smiled calmly. Still want to continue? Though Zabuza said nothing, it was clear he was reassessing the situation. Back with Sasuke and Haku, their match was ongoing. Sasuke was beginning to tire, while Haku remained composed. Both stopped as they felt Naruko's chakra release ripple across the bridge. Sasuke could barely believe what he was seeing. The scale of Naruko's power reminded him of a night he'd long buried in memory. Haku's gaze remained on Naruko, concern flickering in her eyes, not for herself, but for Zabuza. Naruko took a step forward. Will you come to me, or should I come to you? She said, her voice calm yet firm. Zabuza stiffened, gripping his sword. But before the match could continue, laughter echoed across the bridge. A small figure stepped forward, Gato. Well, seems the demon of the mist couldn't even handle a group of young shinobi, he sneered. I guess that saves me some trouble. I don't even have to pay you now. Zabuza's eyes narrowed as realization dawned. Naruko turned toward him. Seems your employer didn't have much faith in your success. You'll need to decide where your loyalty truly lies. Naruko glanced back at her former opponent, one eyebrow arched in quiet response. Allow me a moment to settle things with him, and we'll call it even, Zabuza stated. Naruko gave a silent nod and stepped aside, extending an arm toward Gato in a wordless invitation for Zabuza to proceed. With a subtle smirk, Zabuza removed the massive sword strapped across his back and walked calmly toward his ex-employer and the group of so-called guards. After the frustrating battle with Naruko, this was something he intended to see through personally. As for Naruko, her usual features had returned to normal. She now sat comfortably on the ground, knees up and head resting in her hands, observing everything with quiet interest. Haku stood silently, her gaze fixed on Zabuza's retreating form as he moved farther into the crowd until he was barely visible in the distance. As Zabuza reached the group of bodyguards, the first few attempted to confront him. However, with precise, fluid motions, he disarmed and subdued them effortlessly. One by one, they stepped aside or retreated, realizing resistance was futile. Despite Gato's personal security outnumbering Zabuza, it became increasingly clear that numbers were not enough. Gato's fear was visible, he was trembling noticeably as Zabuza approached with slow, deliberate steps. Please. I can compensate you generously," Gato stammered, trying to appeal with panic in his voice. Zabuza simply shook his head, calm and firm. "That offer is long past due." Though the confrontation ended swiftly, no excessive detail was visible. The scene moved on, the air settling around them once more. Naruko, having observed from afar, stood and made her way toward the unconscious Uchiha. She checked Sasuke's pulse gently and, once reassured, carefully lifted him in a bridal carry. She approached the other young ninja with steady steps. "Sasuke-kun." Sakura's voice rang out in concern. Kiba stood nearby, normally the first to remark, but now speechless after everything they'd just seen. His expression was unreadable, somewhere between thoughtful and unsettled. "Is Sasuke-kun going to be alright? Will he recover? What happened to him?" Sakura's worried voice came in rapid succession. "He's alright, Sakura. He just needs rest," Naruko said gently, and the reassurance seemed to calm her teammate. "I'll take care of him," Sakura offered suddenly. Naruko opened her mouth to respond, but Sakura cut her off with a bright smile. "It's fine, really. We're a team, remember?" With a small sigh and a shrug, Naruko agreed. The group began their return to Tazana's home, Naruko, Sakura, Kiba, Akamaru, and Tazana in tow. Haku and Zabuza remained where they were, seemingly fading into the background as the team departed. Back at Tazana's house. Sasuke awoke a few hours later, his body still feeling the exhaustion of the battle. As his vision focused, he noticed Sakura sitting by his side. "Sasuke-kun," she said with relief, her voice rising in pitch. A little loud, Sasuke murmured, wincing slightly. "Oh, I'm so sorry." Sakura replied quickly, leaning in to check on him. Before she could get closer, however, the door opened and Naruko stepped into the room, closing it softly behind her. "Glad to see you awake, Sasuke," she greeted warmly. "HN." A rare moment of silence filled the room, until Sasuke spoke again. "What happened?" Naruko took a step closer and explained clearly, "Haku overwhelmed you and you lost consciousness. After that, Gato appeared with his men, and Zabuza handled the situation. We aren't sure where they've gone, but everything's calmed down now." Sasuke listened carefully, offering a single nod. Though he was calm on the outside, Naruko could read the subtle signs of frustration beneath his stoic expression. She had seen this before. "You did well, Sasuke. I'm proud of you," she said sincerely. "Haku was extremely skilled, and you held your own. Honestly, if I hadn't distracted you slightly, you might have had the upper hand." Sakura, practically sparkling with admiration, watched the scene play out, her heart fluttering. Sasuke seemed slightly more at ease. Until he noticed the starry-eyed gaze Sakura had locked on him. Just then, the door opened again and Kiba entered, practically bounding inside. "Naruko. I just remembered something." She responded. "You said, cat got your tongue? Or maybe Kiba has it. What was that supposed to mean?" Naruko smiled and walked past him. A visible twitch formed on Kiba's forehead. "Naruko. I was talking to you. Answer the question," he called after her, storming out in frustration. Back in the room, Sakura turned her attention back to Sasuke with a gleam in her eye. "So, Sasuke-kun, when you're feeling better, would you like to go on a date when we get back to Konoha?" "No," came his calm but clear reply. Sakura's hopeful expression faltered, though she quickly bounced back with a dreamy sigh. "He's so cool." A week later. Team 7 stood at the edge of the newly completed bridge, admiring its structure. It was beautifully built, simple yet elegant. "Thank you. All of you. Without your help, we couldn't have done this. We're deeply grateful," Tazana said sincerely. Naruko smiled warmly, giving him her trademark grin. "No problem at all." A small voice rang out from the crowd, and Inari ran toward Naruko, latching onto her with a hug. "Bye, Naruko." "Take care, kid," she replied, ruffling his hair under his hat. Nice hat, she thought. Maybe I should get one. No, it wouldn't suit my hair. She blinked, realizing she'd zoned out. Kiba waved a hand in front of her face to get her attention. Oops, sorry. Guess I spaced out there, she said. Or something, Kiba mimicked with a smirk. Naruko's eye twitched. Anyway, let's head out, she said, beginning the journey back across the bridge. The rest of the team followed closely behind, all of them waving and calling farewells, except Sasuke, who remained quietly observant. Back in Konoha. Upon returning, Naruko reported directly to the Hokage, giving him a complete account of their mission, from the early ambushes to their final encounter. And then there's Kiba. A real challenge to patience, she added playfully. The Hokage chuckled warmly. Did you have to assign me the most chaotic team? I've got the brooding strategist, the daydreaming admirer, and then there's Kiba. He smiled again. The teams were assigned with balance in mind. Sasuke was the academy's top student. Kiba? Well, not quite, and Sakura falls in the middle. That creates harmony. I suppose. But still. No one else behaves quite like him. Sarutobi raised an amused eyebrow. Okay, maybe I was a handful once. But I wasn't that bad. Was I? No response came. Naruko leaned forward, eyes narrowing. I was charming. Admit it. Sarutobi chuckled. Of course. Exceptionally charming. Naruko smirked. Thought so. Anyway, I'm off to get some dengo. As the door closed behind her, the Hokage shook his head fondly. Dengo, huh? Not the healthiest way to cope with memories. But it's very Naruko. Dear YouTube family. That's all for now. The signal ends here, but the stream never truly stops. If you enjoyed the content, like, share, and subscribe to stay synced with the latest drops. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next transmission from 6 Path Weeb. Thank you for tuning in. Regards. 6 Path Weeb.